Today I'm going to read to you Arthur Tricks the Tooth Fairy. And we've been doing a lot of Mark Brown books, so maybe your picture in your head is already forming. But let's read it and see if it changes as we go along. Arthur ran to the breakfast table. "Look, D.W.," he said. Arthur waved $1. "The Tooth Fairy left it under my pillow." "Why?" asked D.W. "She takes baby teeth and leaves money," Arthur said. So I'm sure you can relate to your schema. You probably are thinking of things looking exactly the way that it does. And he's got a missing tooth, and you probably thought about that in your head too, because you have lost teeth, right? Or someone in your family may have lost some teeth, and the tooth fairy came at night. So you can relate a text-to-self connection here that helps to create the movie that's happening in your head that will help you to predict what's going to happen or understand the text about what's going on. Let's see if our movie changes as we read the book. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't with books, right? "That's goofy," said D.W. "What does she do with all those old teeth?" Arthur thought. "Maybe her castle is made of teeth," he said. "Where does she get the money?" asked D.W. "You ask too many questions," said Arthur. And here's what they thought, that maybe he's using his mental image here, right? Exactly. Using a visualization to think about what the castle might look like. That wasn't the way that I envisioned. I envisioned the teeth being very small and being all over the place. They look more like marshmallows to me here. So I would have said my movie was a little cooler than the illustrator, but that's okay. We can all have different movies. We don't have to have the same movie in our head, because we have our own imaginations, don't we? The next morning, D.W. ran to the breakfast table. "My tooth is loose," she shouted. "It is not," said Arthur. "It is," said D.W. "Nope, you're too young to lose teeth," said Arthur. "Not fair," said D.W. And I envisioned them at the breakfast table, because we eat breakfast together every day. And I've also read other Mark Brown books, and I've seen the illustrations very similar to this. When Arthur got home from school, the house was very noisy. "Slam, slam, slam," went D.W.'s door. "What are you doing?" shouted Arthur. "Pulling my loose tooth," said D.W. "Oh, no, stop it," said Arthur. "Your tooth is not that loose." And I can see her in my head as I read this, attached to the door handle and her tooth, because my sister used to do that to my brother and I. So there's a text-to-self connection that helped me with my mental image. Wonder what she's going to try next. With your schema, maybe you know the next thing she's going to try to see if she has a loose tooth. That night, D.W. said, "I have a toothache. My tooth needs to be pulled out." "Mom, she's making it up," said Arthur. "Am not," said D.W. "It really hurts. If it still hurts tomorrow, we'll visit the dentist on our way to the museum," said her mother. Did your movie in your head look like this? The next day, they went to the dentist. D.W. jumped into his chair. "Your teeth are perfect," said the dentist. "I don't think the tooth fairy will visit you for a year or two." "See, I told you," said Arthur. "No one believes me," cried D.W. And maybe your movie in your head looks just like this because you've been to the dentist before. My sister's my hygienist, and she cleans my teeth, and it looks just like this in her office. So again, our text-to-self experiences, text-to-text, text-to-world experiences change the movies in our head to help us predict what might happen in a story and to visualize the story in our head to remember what's going on. D.W. dragged her feet all the way to the museum. Everywhere she looked, she saw teeth. Dinosaur teeth, shark teeth, tiger teeth. D.W. could not stop thinking about teeth. And if you've ever been to a museum where there's animals, you probably thought about this looking exactly like this. I know in the Boston Museum of Science there's some great things that would make me have my movie look just like this. But that's because I've experienced that, right, my friends? And so what I've experienced helps me change the movie in my head. At the museum shop, their mother said, "You can each buy one little thing." Arthur looked at everything. But D.W. knew just what she wanted. "I'm going to buy a shark's tooth," she said. "I have a great idea." And maybe you've seen shark's teeth before, too. And my movie in my head is starting to change because I think I know what her idea is going to be. I wonder if she's going to try to put that and pretend that it's her tooth and put it under her pillow for the tooth fairy. That's what my movie's predicting in my head. That night, D.W. couldn't wait to go to bed. "I'll tell you a secret, Arthur, if you promise not to tell Mom and Dad," said D.W. "Promise," said Arthur. "The tooth fairy's coming tonight. I'm going to trick her with my shark's tooth," said D.W. What did I tell you? My movie was right in my head. "It's really going to work." "I sure hope so," said Arthur, "because I'm tired of hearing about teeth." That night, DW dreamed about the Tooth Fairy, and that night Arthur decided that the Tooth Fairy needed a little help. Oh, my movie's changing in my head. I didn't predict that. He's going to help her out. My goodness, what a good brother he is. Before the sun was up, DW ran into Arthur's room. Look, look, look what the Tooth Fairy left me, she shouted. Arthur opened his eyes. I tricked the Tooth Fairy. I tricked the Tooth Fairy, sang DW. I did it. I really did it. And you probably saw them looking like this in your head, because that's the way my children would come in when the Tooth Fairies visited our house. So again, my schema helps me make that movie in my head. And tonight, I'm going to do it again, shouted DW. And look at what happens. He's got the tooth. I wonder how she'll do it this time if she doesn't have a shark's tooth. My movie's kind of predicting what's going to happen in the next sequel of this book, isn't it, my friends?